JT Shaver here with New Layer, and today I want to share with you all the gear that I pack with me anytime I go out to create content. Of course, if I go out to do a specific project, I'll bring specific gear with me for that project. But this is kind of my all-around essentials kit so that I'm ready for anything. I'm not saying this is the perfect kit for everyone, but this one focuses on being affordable, compact, and lightweight while still being extremely capable. I gotta start with my favorite pickup from last year, which is the Sony a7S III. I know I just mentioned affordable, but this was my one big splurge last year when I switched totally from my Canon 5D Mark IV to Sony. This is the only camera that I've ever pre-ordered and I still have no regrets. I'm not going to get into all the specs on this camera because you probably already know them, or you can look them up faster than I can tell you, but there are some things about this that I love that I didn't really expect before I bought it. One is just how much I love shooting photos with this camera, even though it's mainly geared towards video. The speed difference between editing 48 megapixel photos from my a7R III versus the 12 megapixel photos from the a7S III is huge. Most of the pictures that I take are meant to be viewed online anyway, so 12 megapixels is still plenty. It's much more enjoyable to edit photos when there's no sliders lagging or waiting for settings to apply. Another nice workflow improvement on the a7S III is that when you want to shoot in manual focus, you can still use the shutter button to lock in the focus instead of needing to turn the ring on the lens itself. On the a7R III, when you were in manual focus, the shutter button wouldn't do anything and you would always have to use the ring on the lens. So on this camera, it's just much quicker to lock in the focus and get shooting. The ergonomics on this are so much better with the bigger grip, the relocated record button, and the other control changes. Lastly, there's the obvious things like the improved dynamic range, the insane low noise performance, the fully articulating screen, the improved codecs and frame rates. Must I go on? When I switched from Canon and sold my EF lenses, I picked up the Tamron 28-75 f2.8, which in my opinion is the ultimate all-around lens. Obviously there's similar options with the Sony and Sigma 24-70 f2.8, but there's three main reasons I like the Tamron. One is just the price. It's 20% cheaper than the Sigma and less than half the price of the Sony G Master equivalent. Number two is just how compact and lightweight this is. This lens is significantly smaller than the other options, and it's about 2/3 of the weight. When you're talking about gear specifically for a travel kit, any weight and size savings is huge. Lastly is the filter thread size. Both the Sony and Sigma thread size is 82mm, and this lens along with the other two in the trio are just 67mm. A bigger filter thread size just means bigger and more expensive filters. No, I'm not saying the other lenses don't have benefits over these, and they do kind of have a weird focal length range, but I do think these are the best value you can get, especially because the image quality is still excellent. The 28-75 is on my camera 90% of the time, but I do also bring the 17-28 and the 70-180mm if I have room. I will say if I want to travel extra light, I'll take my Canon M50 instead with some of the Viltrox prime lenses, which I love and I've done a full review on if you want to check that out. The M50 and the M50 Mark II are very similar cameras, but I do still think they're one of the best APS-C size cameras you can get even in 2021. The microphone I take everywhere is the Rode Videomic NTG. I still have my Deity VMic D3 Pro, but there's one main reason why I take this with me. The Videomic NTG can be connected directly to a computer and used as an audio interface. So if I need to record some high quality audio for a podcast or a meeting or another piece of content, I can connect this directly to my computer without needing a dedicated audio recorder. It's also just an awesome microphone in general, and the other thing I like about it is the safety track feature. You can record 2 tracks simultaneously, one at a lower level, to completely avoid any clipping in your audio. There's one tripod that I use for basically everything, and that's the K&F Concept TC2534. It's carbon fiber, so it's lightweight, but the legs flip all the way up to make it more compact when you break it down, but it can still handle about 22 pounds. It also has some features that cheap tripods don't, like shooting inverted or using one of the legs as a monopod and things like that. Overall, it's not too big and not too small, and it's relatively inexpensive, so you don't really have to worry about getting it dirty or dinging it up by accident. When it comes to lights, there's a few options that I bring depending on how much space I have left in my bag. If I don't have much space, I'll bring the Aputure MC or the Nanlite Litolite 5C, which essentially do the same thing, and it just kind of depends what I have charged at the moment that I'm packing. They're perfect for accent or fill light, which is good because when you travel, you're usually using natural light as your key, so these really come in handy. If I have the room, sometimes I'll take the Nanlite Pavotube II 6C instead. They're a little brighter and they have green magenta tint control, so it makes it easier to match other natural light sources. Obviously, if I'm going to shoot an interview or something specific, I'll take an entire light kit with me, but if I just have one backpack, these are the lights that I choose. I used to not even consider taking a motorized slider with me anywhere because they were either too big or required my phone to use them, which I don't always like, but I finally found the Smartta SliderMini II. It's the smallest motorized slider I've ever used. It has an internal battery that charges via USB-C, and you can control this with just the button on the slider. You might not care as much as me, but this is the only slider I take with me, especially if I'm not sure if I'm even going to need one. Going back to tripods, I don't always take a full-size one with me, especially if I'm flying, but I do make sure to always have at least a mini tripod with me. The Uvlog Lite from Ulanzi is one of my favorites because it has a nice ball head, extending legs, and a cold shoe mount so you can attach lights or a microphone or other accessories. The other mini tripod that I take is also from Ulanzi, and it has a wider base and it's made of carbon fiber, so it's extra light. When you extend the legs on this one, the base becomes really wide and really stable, and I also have a Ulanzi 360-degree panning reverse ball head on here, which can hold a little more weight. So I use the Uvlog Lite with my Canon M50 normally, and when I need something more robust, I'll use this one. If you love tech, you have to like drones, and the one that I've been using for the last year and a half is the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. I love everything about this drone except its size, which is kind of funny. I used to use a Phantom 4, so when I got the Mavic 2 Pro, it seemed absolutely tiny. I recently got to fly a DJI Mini 2, which probably wouldn't be a replacement for a Mavic 2 Pro, but it's so much smaller and would fit into my bag much easier. As far as filters go, I always make sure to have a circular polarizer, a variable ND, and some diffusion filters. I had been using the Tiffin Black Pro Mist filters, but I recently got the Moment Cineblooms, as well as some filters from Freewell. I'm still testing them all out, so it's kind of up in the air which ones I'm going to go with, but the Freewell ones also come with a really cool magnetic filter system. You thread a thin magnetic ring onto each lens, and then you can pop your filters on and off magnetically really quickly. It's worked really well so far, so I'm hoping the quality of the filters themselves lives up to the Moment and Tiffin filters. They also come with a magnetic lens cap, which I like better because it's lower profile and it's harder to knock off accidentally. As far as little accessories go, I always have some microfiber cloths, a little bulb blower thing, and of course extra batteries. I usually use Ravpower batteries because they're inexpensive and they're still a well-known name, so I can trust them not to blow up in my camera. If I'm gone for more than a day, I'll take my cheap Lenovo gaming laptop. That way I can offload memory cards or play some garbage Call of Duty at like 10 frames per second. I'd love to know what it's like editing 4K footage on a high-end laptop, but I doubt anyone's watching that can hook me up with that. I mean, if you are watching and you can, I bet you won't do it. No, really, you won't get in touch and offer me a sweet sponsorship with a nice laptop. I guarantee you won't do it. Please do it. The final secret to my camera bag is the bag itself. There's a lot of really nice, really expensive bags out there, but as someone that hasn't spent more than $15 on a shirt in the last 10 years, I just can't justify spending that much money on a bag. I usually use the cheapest bags that I can find, including an Amazon Basics one that I got for $29, and another one that I thought I bought on Amazon, but I have no record of actually buying, so who knows where that came from. My point is that although expensive bags are probably worth it, it's probably not a priority unless you have every other piece of gear that you need. I do have some cases from SKB that I use when I need a little more protection or more room. They're lockable, they're waterproof, and they have handles and wheels, so they're really easy to take with you. The overarching theme for my gear bag is to have something capable but also portable and lightweight. So what do you think? Do you have any alternatives to the gear that I'm currently using? If so, leave a comment and let me know because I'm always looking for the best combination. I've done full reviews on some of this stuff, so I'll have links in the description to those videos as well as affiliate links, and it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it really helps me create more videos like this. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.